like he did several stabs with us as well. So for somebody who's already admitted to me she's not going to make that rule, but it's still going to be under 10 minutes, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Hollie Woodard. You already know her as one of our lead learners. So from Council Rock School District, North High School, Hollie Woodard.
Sorry.
Really pushing that 5-minute mark.
Sorry.
Take a dick.
Oh, shush. This doesn't count.
Thank you, Hillary, for advocating for me.
You're welcome. Here it is. I found it. Right? Well,
Looks good.
You don't know. It's good.
Nope, that's not it.
What the?
So how's everybody doing? The awkward silence wasn't making me nervous at all. So group 2, thank you. Tour group 2, thank you for the tour groups. Okay, so I'm doing an Ignite, and full disclosure, there's no way I'm going to hit that 5-minute mark because I can't even introduce my own name in 5 minutes, so just get comfortable and get ready to go. So when I was prepping for this, essentially the Ignite is where you pour your soul out and you use your personal experience to try to motivate people. At least that's how I interpreted it. So I reached out to my best friend this week. I was like, listen, I'm in an unusual place where I'm actually nervous about something. I said, so I need some tips, some advice. My best friend Kelly's here. Kelly Hoffman, right there. So she said, listen, I don't care what you do, lead with Brene Brown. That's how you win the crowd over. So I went with this quote, vulnerability is not weakness, it's our most accurate measure of courage. And what's going to happen in the next couple of minutes is you're going to see me vulnerable, which a lot of people don't see because remember I'm all confidence, no skill, right? So I'm actually going to be vulnerable with you guys for a little bit. And I know you guys are an amazing crowd and I know you're going to make it really welcoming. So I want to start off first with the title of my presentation. Fear and intimidation. I'm not done yet. I'll call to action. Now, I went with this title because I thought the slow death of education and why the hell are we still doing this was a little bit dark. So I wanted something a little bit more uplifting. What do you guys think? Kind of good? Good? All right? Good decision? Okay. The other part about this was, I grew up in the 90s. Right? Any 90s people? Yes, right? And in the 90s, the #1 leadership style that was appreciated and valued was bullying. So that's totally my leadership style. So if you feel bullied by this presentation, I've absolutely done what I've intended. All right, so now let's get to it. It's confession time. Hey, Hillary, can you move that little arrow that's in the middle there? It's going to drive me nuts and it's going to drive, there you go. Perfect. So confession time. I have a confession to make. This is where I'm going to get vulnerable. Technology terrifies me. Now, perhaps I paid too much attention to the existential warnings of my pop culture. I really took it to heart when Ray Bradbury said that don't get an AR room because one day you might end up being dinner to a virtual line. I also am not exactly sure why video killed a radio star. But I'm pretty sure it had something to do with the amazing way in which technology takes something that was once really cool and then completely destroys it. And let's be honest, I don't think any of us have gotten over Matthew Broderick's, I can't even say it, inexperience with cyberstalking that led us within minutes of total Earth annihilation, proving that the only thing more terrifying than Russia during the Cold War is technology. When microwave ovens replaced family meals, VHS replaced television, and Atari replaced childhood, I learned to be cautious. That fear was confirmed when our local steel mills closed down. I grew up in Levittown, Pennsylvania, made famous for the innovation of William Levitt, who solved the problem of housing for our vets after World War II. Levittown was built upon the steel industry economy. And my father, like all of my friends, man's fathers was a steel worker. I was in 2nd grade when I learned that the steel mill was going to close down. It didn't actually close down until I was a senior in high school. For those 10 years, the steel industry controlled our family. The ebb and flow of automation, supply and demand, that dictated to us what our lifestyle was like. And as a child, I didn't quite understand that. All I knew is that sometimes we had steak and potatoes. Other times, we had SOS, short for, you know. And the thing about the SOS was, it always foreshadowed the impending loss of our electricity and hot water. So, as a child, I was very cautious, very anxious. But here's the thing, it took 10 years for the steel mill to close down. That's 10 years that my father and his friends could have done something, anything, to try to slow this innovation. But they didn't. Instead, their ignorance kept them from action. They were ignorant to the thought that the steel mill, like everything, had a life cycle. They were arrogant in their belief that America would always need steel. And in the most devastating betrayal, their pride for saving America during World War II kept them from believing that one day they could be obsolete. So, like the radio star, they were just dead men walking, waiting for another death of an industry. Like I said, as a child, I was very anxious. I was reminded of that anxiety when I took my first ed tech course. As I said, technology was terrifying. I didn't sign up for the course. It was one of those, hey, this is what's available, you better take it. It was a hybrid course, very innovative at the time when I took it. You went in for like 5 days and then you did the rest of the work online. And as I sat in that class, the professor, very excited, enthusiastic, nerdy little man, he was amazing. He was so excited he introduced us to wikis. And as he started talking about these wikis, he put this assignment out. He's like, all right, so you guys are gonna create this assignment, you're gonna collaborate, we're gonna put it out online. It's gonna be on the internet. As I looked around the room, and I saw other teachers going, oh my God, am I gonna break the internet? Because they were nervous. My chest started to tighten. And I got that old, familiar sense that I was about to be served shit on a shingle. And I raised my hand and said, excuse me, sir. Why would I put all of my lessons and my work out online for anyone to take? He goes, I'm not, what do you mean? I said, all right. If I have Paula Dean's cookbook in my kitchen, I don't need Paula Dean. That was a brilliant analogy. To which he said with complete earnest, I'm not really sure who this Paula Dean person is. Is this a student? And I said, well, no, I'm just saying, why would I give my stuff out online? Why would I just make my stuff available for everybody? He goes, well, don't think of it as putting your stuff out online. Think of it as providing an alternate learning experience. An alternate learning experience led by robots. That's where I was at, in that place of fear, back in Ray Bradbury's book. I looked around the room, now identified as the class alarmist. I thought, okay, I'm gonna get to work. But I didn't do my best work, because I was not going to give that to the internet for free. The problem was, as I started to learn more about ed tech, I realized it really was awesome. The innovation changed the way I looked at teaching, changed the way I looked at learning. So I was terrified, panicked. The reality was, I saw how technology and innovation killed the steel industry. And I couldn't help but have that same fear that we might once again be seeing another death of an industry. I promised myself in that moment that I wouldn't be ignorant to the fact that education has a life cycle, just like the steel industry. I wouldn't be arrogant thinking that my union was somehow going to protect me. And I wouldn't allow my pride to think that America would value teachers. So, when faced with frustration, we have an option. We fight, we flight, we freeze. I saw the paralyzing impact of freeze when my dad lost his job, so I wasn't about to do that again. I wasn't going to leave teaching because I just love it so much. So what I decided to do was fight. But what I realized was that I actually had a decision in how I was going to fight. I could be the John Connor protagonist who was going to fight against technology and destroy it, seek it out in its places, and destroy it so that it never existed. Or I could be the red pill enlightened Keanu Reeves, in which I manipulate the technology and use the power for good. I'll take the red pill, please. And that's what I did. I got a master's degree, did all kinds of stuff, changed my teaching, won a bunch of awards, present all the time, and essentially what I did was learn that I am now the master of this technology. Now, here's the deal. We have yet to have a classroom led by robots. Jess is working on making that happen, but we have yet to have that. However, what we learned from COVID was that we are going to be using technology to solve the problems of education. And right now, the problems that we have in education are so extensive that if this were a movie right now, it would be the flashback scene, where panicked teachers, superintendents, administrators would be saying, oh my gosh, help me, anybody help me. I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I've got these problems, just find a way to help me. And the smooth talking ed tech guy, right, that knows the language but knows nothing about teaching, comes in and saves the day with his cool ed tech stuff. But he's not a teacher, and he doesn't get it, and he doesn't know what we're trying to do. So, my call to action for you is, we are the literate ones. We know the language of technology, which means we are the ones that have to have the conversations. We cannot allow people who know nothing about what we do to make decisions about what we do. We have got to develop our skills. We've got to figure out how to use this technology for good. And then we have to elbow our way into those places to have those conversations. That is the work that we are doing this week. Now, you're probably wondering, how's my dad doing? My dad is great. He reinvented himself. That's him. He's a lovely man, lives 6 houses away, still in Levittown. He found a way to recover. And if something bad happened in education, we would all find a way to recover. However, some of us don't realize what it was that replaced the steel industry. the decisions they made to innovate caused harm. And had those men done more than just fight for themselves, perhaps the world would be a little bit different. So, as I wrap this up, I first need to ask, are you afraid? Did I scare you?
No.
Damn it. Did I intimidate you?
Nope.
Thank you. Do you feel called to action?
Yes.
Yep.
Let's get to work.
Thank you, Holly, that was outstanding. We're now going to, we need a music cue.
Oh, we need a music cue.
Do we need to get music cue?